welcome to your full moon in Capricorn workbook journey. So this full moon is happening on July 10th, and this is full of the discipline, goal-oriented energy that Capricorn always brings with it. It's an opportunity to revisit your plans and goals, especially those from the beginning of the year, and checking that they align with what you truly want to do, be, feel, and experience for the rest of the year. So this full moon is acting as a powerful reminder to prioritize, reevaluate, restructure your commitments. And full moons are all about releasing, but they're also about celebrating too. So maybe taking a look back to see where you are in terms of where you want to be. So it's offering this sacred portal for healing, reorientation, and cleansing so that you can build something more substantial and bring those spiritual values that you have into your daily life. This is inviting you to be vulnerable and soft. It's an invitation to play with duality of inner child and reparenting yourself. This is the perfect time to anchor in your responsibility and where it truly belongs. Like, are there things that you maybe picked up along the way that felt like a responsibility, allowing you to create a renewed sense of devotion and clarity with who you truly are, the essence of who you truly are. This is a time for deep cleansing, realignment, and inviting you to release what was never yours to be carried. This is like old dependencies, attachments, and the procrastination that may hold you back. So full moons always offer this space for releasing, right? And in this releasing, the Capricorn energy is a really good way to reorient your responsibility. So releasing what no longer serves you. As I said before, kind of revisiting and reviewing the plans from the beginning of the year, where you are now versus where you truly want to be and how you truly want to feel for the rest of the year. So releasing those old plans and goals from the beginning of the year that are no longer in alignment with who you are now. And it's funny because I think about this for myself personally and for a few other people that were like, I don't have like anything that I want to do for the beginning of the year, or maybe they didn't feel like they were in a space to make plans for the rest of the year, or to look at their core desired feelings. And like, you probably already know at this point because you're here in the Soul Shift Breathwork membership, that at the beginning of the year, like, I didn't start off with any plans. It just was like, let things magically unfold. And that created the space, right, for the healing in my family, and is still creating that space now. But I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, now I'm in a space where I can actually start looking at things within my business and things within my life that I'm actually ready to start mapping things out. I don't want to say plan, but like mapping things out for myself. And so who I was at the beginning of the year versus who I am now is something that feels very, very far and apart. So I'm not in a place where I want to let things magically unfold, although I always want to let things magically unfold. But all this tangent is to say, take a look at your life and where you are now. Even if you didn't start off the year with goals or plans or desires, you may very well have. But even if you didn't, you might look at, who you are now, what your values are now, maybe redefine those core desired feelings. And because you are part of the Soul Shift Breathwork membership, most of you should have access to the Soul Shift workshop. If you don't, let me know. Happy to look into that for you. But this might be a really good time to go back and look at that, or look at your workbook from that workshop. Lots of work there with the Capricornian energy. But maybe look at that and see who you are now, where you want to be, and what you want to experience for the rest of the year. This is a really good time to release the dependencies and attachments that are maybe holding you back from growing, clearing any inherited burdens and responsibilities that aren't truly yours. I kind of mentioned this before, and it's something that I know often comes up in breath work for people. Like, we realize stuff where like we've been carrying a responsibility, or maybe guilt, or maybe a burden of something that wasn't ever ours to begin with, and it's maybe something that we inherited. This can be a cultural thing. Like sometimes I'm not going to speak for other cultures, but I will speak for my personal culture of like the way that my family was raised and the way that we were taught to believe, like, if you don't have any children, then you have to take care of your parents and you're responsible for your parents. Even if you did have children, you still have to take care of your parents. Or there was this idea that you have to give to everybody first before you give to yourself. The very simple way to explain this is like when you were feeding or cooking for your family, like you had to serve everybody first and you were the last one to eat. And, so there's these ideas that we had about, how we served others or how we loved. And true love meant that you gave to others before you gave to yourself, right? And so these are inherited burdens and responsibilities that were never truly mine to begin with, but I picked them up along the way because this is what we were taught. So just thinking about how that applies to your life, right? And I'm not saying that you have to throw all that away, but maybe throw away the things that don't fit you. Maybe you do like to serve other people before you serve yourself. Maybe that's one way that you show love, but what are other ways that you can show love to yourself, right? And so it isn't about throwing away your culture, more so it's about redefining what part of your culture you want to keep alive within your current life, right? This is a really good time to look at procrastination and the things that are keeping you from your purpose. So I've heard, and an idea that sits really well with me is that procrastination isn't about laziness. It is about having too much, too many ideas, and not wanting to move forward with any idea because then it means that the other ideas aren't worthy. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that's me. Like, because I have so many ideas of things that I want to do. And if I move forward with one idea, that means I'm saying no to the other ones. And I know that's not true now, but it really rang true. But there's another idea about procrastination is that procrastination is actually not laziness. It's another form of perfectionism. And I resonate with both of those ideas. Not that procrastination is laziness, but that one of the reasons that we procrastinate is because of perfectionism. And if we start moving forward on something, then there's the idea that it won't be good enough. And then we get disappointed. And so it's another level of perfectionism. So basically just looking at the things that you're procrastinating on, how they're keeping you from your purpose, and maybe what's the reason behind that, so that we can move beyond the surface level goals for deeper meaning. And there's, I had a little bit of I don't know what the word is here, but I had a little bit of a back and forth with myself before, like I included this part in the workbook journey, because sometimes surface level goals are okay. Sometimes the surface level goals are meant for deeper meaning, and sometimes they don't have to be. So moving beyond those goals, I guess a better way to phrase this, and I'm not going to change it because it's already in the workbook, and that's another part of perfectionism, is like you kind of start changing stuff and then you procrastinate. But that's another whole thing that we could talk about in a different journey. But in this journey, what we're talking about here is taking away those goals that don't have a deeper meaning for you, a deeper meaning for your life, a deeper meaning for what you truly want. And so they don't have to necessarily be surface level goals, but maybe moving beyond goals that aren't truly yours, that don't allow you to expand within yourself. And so those goals can be simple and easy. They can be surface level. Like you can have surface level goals and they can be deeply spiritual too, because I believe that everything is spiritual. So let's say you want to make more money. I don't think that that's a surface level goal if we're talking about that that means for you, it makes you feel more comfortable. But maybe thinking about this in a way of like, how will this make me feel? And if that is like, I want to get more sleep or whatever, I don't feel like that's surface level goals either. Or I want to go to, Japan, or I want to travel the world. I don't think that any goals are surface level, but so just looking at the goals and seeing how they serve you and what purpose they bring into your life. I think that that's possibly how I could have worded this a little bit differently. And this is also a really good time to reclaim your authentic path. And along the lines of that, reclaiming your authentic path, prioritizing what truly matters to you, and reevaluating your commitments. I think that's kind of where I was going when, we're talking about the surface level goals, like what really matters to you? How can you restructure and reconfigure your approach to how you're doing things to align with your personal truth? How can you be vulnerable and soft while still allowing for authentic connection, right? How can you give, nurture, and receive support as you grow? Sometimes for some of us, that can be a little bit difficult, right? Receiving the support as we grow. And really looking at your plans and goals and aspirations with this renewed lens, with this renewed clarity, so that you can build with sacred intent. Look at what you want to achieve, experience, or feel for the rest of the year. Bring those spiritual values into your daily life and work. Build something substantial and lasting, and balance your inner child needs with reparenting adult wisdom, integrating heart-centered and logical thinking for balanced decisions. So one of the things that I love about the Capricornian energy is like this duality between the pragmatic, the practical, patient with the heart-centered version of ourselves, right? The expanded versions for this balanced thinking, right? And so when we talk about the full moon and how it specifically affects you, there's always space for you to write down like your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, and then go through the houses and which house your Capricorn energy lands in, right? And so when we talk about the rising sign, that's our outer self, right? That's how others see you. When we talk about the sun sign, the one that most people know, this is how you see yourself. And this is your motivation. It's kind of like your reason and your purpose for doing things. When we look at your rising sign, it's kind of like your actions and your behaviors. And then when we look at your moon sign, it is your inner self, and it's how your soul sees you. It's your emotions, it's your comfort, it's your safety, it's your home, right? It's the feminine quality. The sun is the masculine quality. And then the rising sign is like the actions that we take, the behaviors that are outward energy, right? And so when we're looking at how this full moon specifically affects you, you can look at it by your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign, and then see where Capricorn lands in those houses. Now, if you want a breakdown of how this full moon specifically affects your zodiac sign, well, here we go. So for Aries, this is illuminating your 10th house of career and public image. So this is a really good time to release responsibilities that don't align with your true purpose regarding your career and your public image. This is also a really good time to celebrate your achievements. This will illuminate your legacy and help you complete a cycle in your professional sphere. So looking at your career and your public image and the things that you want to release there, and the things that you also want to celebrate for yourself there. For Taurus, this is highlighting your 9th house of expansion and beliefs. This is a time to release those limiting beliefs around what's possible for your future, celebrating your growth, illuminating how your philosophy shapes your goals, and completing any lingering plans for travel. So this is a really good time for that because it's summertime, so you might be starting to think about like traveling in the fall or traveling now, but also completing any cycles of like things that you have open, like with studies and beliefs and things like that. Gemini, this is affecting your 8th house of transformation and shared resources. So it's a good time to release old financial dependencies or fears around intimacy. Celebrate those deep connections. You might be illuminating any hidden truths in your partnerships. And this is a good time to complete cycles of debt or shared emotional burdens. For Cancer, this is shining a light in your 7th house of partnerships and commitments. So good time to release any inherited patterns around parents or relationship responsibilities. This is a really good time to celebrate clarity, and you might be illuminated with this full moon of how these partnerships and how these relationships and commitments impact your growth. And this is a really good time to close cycles on any relationship issues. For Leo, this is igniting your 6th house of health and routine and service. So you'll want to release any daily duties that are depleting your resources This is a good time to celebrate your discipline and self-care, illuminating areas for wellness improvements and completing any cycles with health goals or shifts in your work or routines, right? For Virgo, this is illuminating your fifth house of creativity, passion, and romance. So, a good time to release any perfectionism or self-criticism that keeps you from creative expression. This is a good time to celebrate your talents and illuminating what makes your heart sing, completing a creative project or a romantic chapter in your life. For Libra, this full moon is happening in your fourth house of home, family, and emotional security. So you're going to want to release any emotional burdens from your past or family dynamics. Celebrate bringing a strong sense of an emotional foundation, illuminating what needs to change in your home, and completing any family decisions or emotional closure. For Scorpio, the full moon is glowing in your third house of communication and environment. So you'll want to release any thinking patterns that maybe feel a little bit rigid or a little bit too structured for you, or any serious interactions. This is a good time to celebrate clear communication, to illuminate any misunderstandings, and to complete cycles of overthinking for clearer interactions. For Sagittarius, this full moon is lighting up your second house of self-worth and finances. So you'll want to release any scarcity mindsets or any outdated money beliefs. This is a really good time to celebrate your ability to build financial security. This will illuminate how your values align with your finances, and this will help you complete chapters that no longer support your growth. For Capricorn, this is igniting your first house of self-image and identity. So you'll want to release any old ideas about how you view yourself or any burdens that you may carry about your self-image. This is a really good time to celebrate your authentic presence, illuminate your personal journey for clarity, and completing any old chapters to confidently turn over a new leaf. For Aquarius, this is deepening your insights in your 12th house of spirituality and subconscious. You'll want to release any restrictive philosophies about your self-doubt. Celebrate your spiritual connection. You might have some illumination of what needs healing from your subconscious, maybe even doing some shadow work, and complete cycles of self-sabotage. For Pisces, this is highlighting your 11th house of friendships and hopes. So you're going to want to release any superficial ties or things that don't support you anymore, especially in group commitments or friendships. This is a really good time to celebrate reconnecting with your community. This will illuminate how your dreams align with those people that you surround yourself with, your social network, maybe people that you work with. And this is a really good time to complete projects that no longer serve your future. So as usual, I do have 3 different tarot spreads or oracle spreads for you to use at home, and I will do a couple of these here. So we have the Releasing What Was Never Yours spread. I really like this spread. It's a 4-card spread. I'm definitely going to do it. This asks the questions of what inherited burden are you unknowingly carrying? How is this burden impacting your energy or decisions? What specific action can you take to begin releasing this? And what wisdom or strength will emerge as you release this? I really like that. And then we have, I think I like this one too. I like all of them, right? Probably will do this one too. I like all of them, but I probably will do like 1 and 2. But the first card asks, who have you become since the beginning of the year? The second card is, what old goal or plan feels most misaligned with the new version of you or with the current version of you? And what is one practical step that you can take to move away from the misaligned goal? The last question is, what new direction or intention is truly calling you into your future path now? Then we have the Sacred Illumination and Celebration spread. I like this spread too. I like them all. This is also a 4-card spread. So this spread asks, what hidden truth about your path is this full moon illuminating for you? What significant personal growth or achievement from this year is ready to be celebrated? How can you use this illuminated truth for greater alignment for your purpose? And what will help you set a sacred sense of inner peace for the rest of your year? Them. I think I have to rein it in because I really only have time for 2. So I think I'm just definitely going to do 1 and 2. Okay. So if you are listening to this and you're like, I really wanted her to do the other spread, please let me know. And I'm happy to kind of like do a separate reading for that, or maybe even can take out the Capricorn thing and do it for the July, August, September, for the August tarot reading. All right, so I am using the Light Seers deck. I was going to grab the other, I have a couple of other decks. I have a few other tarot decks here, and I was going to grab the Fortuna one, but something's telling me to stay with the Light Seers tarot. And I know that I've been using that one quite a bit, but sometimes that's what happens when you have lots of cards. Some cards are just asking to be spoken with. So, all right, we're going to start with the Releasing What Was Never Yours spread. So, I just have the cards in my hand. I started shuffling. I don't know if you could hear it, but we're just going to go in. I'm not going to separate the deck. I'm just going to go in and use the cards that we have in my hands. All right, so Releasing What Was Never Yours spread. What inherited burden are you unknowingly carrying? Okay, we got the Queen of Cups. It's funny because I was talking about, how you show your family love, and it's like you serve others first before you serve yourself. She's got her hands off. She's like looking up towards the sky, or she's got her eyes closed. I don't say hands closed, but her hands are open. Eyes are closed. Face looking up. And it's interesting that this is the inherited burden that you're unknowingly carrying, because if we think about the Queen of Cups, she's very loving, she's very intuitive, she's very fluid and flexible. She's the type of person who cares for others before she cares for herself, but she's gotten to a place where she's learned to balance all of that. And this card just fell out for our second card, and the second card is, how is this burden currently impacting your energy or decisions? That we got the Seven of Wands. This is someone defending themselves. This is someone defending their ideas. This is someone defending who they are, who they want to be, how they want to act. Her core is illuminated there, her solar plexus chakra, and it's yellow, and there's the sun that's shining brightly, but she is meditating, and she has her hands in the prayer position right at her heart center. And it's funny because if this is how this burden of serving everybody before you serve yourself, of loving everybody before you love yourself, if this is how this burden is currently impacting your energy or decisions, you're feeling like you got to defend yourself. You're feeling like, wait, I didn't do things for myself first, and now I have to defend my passions and defend my desires, right? And so what's the specific action that you can take to begin releasing this now? We got the King of Wands. That's really interesting because we go from the Queen of Cups, where I'm giving all my love to everybody, but I also have like this hands-off approach, and it's this energy that you've been carrying with you. Then we go into the Seven of Wands, where it's like, no, I need to defend my passions, and I need to defend myself, and I need to kind of keep myself whole so that, I can give love to others when the right time is for giving the love to others, right? And, also expressing my passion, my creativity, right? Because the wands are our passions, our desires, our creativity. It's how we move and how we act, right? And that's why the solar plexus is illuminated, because this is the action oriented, right? It's part of ourselves, part of our energy, right? The specific action that you can take is to take those wands and bring that energy, hold your desires in your hand and show them, and be brave, and be the person that leads, be the person that has that lion energy, but can put the lion energy behind themselves and is ready to go forward and take the actions that you need to take. And so that specific action that you can take is to take the action of taking your desires and really paying attention to what your desires are, how they truly match who you are, and knowing that you can take that energy and use it to move forward, right? This is also the energy of action, of being, heart-centered, right? Of being a visionary, of truly mapping out your desires. And I think by mapping out your desires, by mapping out what it is that you truly want, then you can go ahead and take the action on that. So the action is to revisit what it is that you truly want, right? What's the wisdom or strength that will emerge as you release this burden that you've unknowingly been carrying. The Nine of Pentacles. I love it. I love it. The Nine of Pentacles is all about financial freedom, but it's also about spiritual freedom. It's also about grounded freedom. It's about independence, right? It's this independence from, and we just had 4th of July that passed, right? It's this independence of like having the time and the space to feel and do and be and do as you wish, right? The Nine of Pentacles is also known as that wish card, right? It's that, it's like kind of like, I want to say like all your wishes have been granted, but only because you did the work. And I know sometimes we think about like, you don't have to work for it. We don't want to hustle. And this is not, I'm not talking about hustling. I'm showing up doing the work, the effort that it takes to show up for yourself, right? You're showing up for yourself here because you're listening to this. You're doing this work just by listening to it, right? You're letting it dive into your subconscious, right? You're showing up for yourself. That's part of the work. When we have this hands-off approach, when we're like everybody first and me last, that's part of doing the work too. Maybe that is part of your lesson. Sometimes that is part of our lesson, to learn to put other people first. But at some point when it stops serving us, that's when it impacts our decisions, and we might get a little bit resentful with this 7 of Wands. I'm not saying that that's the energy that you're feeling, but it could very well be the energy that you're feeling. It's like, hey, I put you first. How come you didn't do that for me? Or, hey, like I did, like all these extra hours for work, but I'm salaried. And then you don't get the vacation that you asked for because it's like, oh, someone else is taking that vacation. Or it's like in a relationship, you think about someone first, you plan the dates, you plan all of the things, and then they don't plan anything for you because they're like, oh, you've been doing it this whole time. And you're like, yeah, but I was expecting reciprocity. So there's something to be said about putting others first and not making it clear what your expectations are. You can make expectations and you can set forth your expectations, but when we don't vocalize those expectations, that's what's missing in this deck. We've got the Wands, the action, we've got the Cups, the emotion, we've got the Pentacles, our biological needs, our groundedness, right? But what we don't have here is communication. And that's also part of it. When we don't communicate what our needs are, we can't expect others to meet them. And so that's part of this inherited burden of the Queen of Cups. I'm not saying that the Queen of Cups is someone who doesn't let people know what their needs are. She's actually balanced her logic with her emotions, and she's gotten to this place where she can give and receive love freely. But if the inherited burden is that you can't give love and receive love freely, and that you put others first, expecting them to give back to you, but then they don't, then we might feel this sense of energy that we're feeling in the 7 of Wands, needing to defend ourselves, needing to defend our ideas, needing to defend our actions, right? So the specific action that you can take to start releasing this now is taking those passions and those desires and what you truly want and your actions that you truly want to take and reevaluating them to see what is it that's truly mine, what is it that truly is someone else's, and the wisdom and strength that'll emerge as you release that is that you'll feel into this energy of 9 of Pentacles. You'll feel this independence. You'll feel this grounded. You'll feel this safety and security. You'll enjoy your time, your freedom. This is spiritual and material satisfaction. This is personal achievement. This is inner peace. These are milestones that are met and celebrated. This is the energy of a successful harvest and contentment. And I love that the affirmation that Chris Ann has here is, I enjoy the bliss and abundance that I have sown. So it's enjoying the bliss and the abundance that you have sown, and you've sown it by action, you've sown it by communication, you've sown it by your emotions as well. So that was your reading. I love this reading. So good. All right. I think I'm going to... Part of me is saying put these back, and the other part of me is saying leave them out. So I'm going to leave them out. So we're going to do the current self and future path spread. All right, let's see. All right, so we have 4 cards in this spread, and we are asking, who have you become since the beginning of this year? Oh, we got the 6 of Cups. You become someone who knows who they were. Like, this is such a funny card to have for this spread, because we have the current self and the future path spread, and we have an older version you, and then we have the younger version of you. I think that's so fitting, because your current self is in between that. You're not yet who you will be, and you're also not who you were. You're who you are in this moment, and that's who you have become. You become the person who you are in this moment. And that sounds kind of like a little nebulous, but what I really feel like this means is that you've accepted your past and you've accepted your future, and you understand that the choices that you make now will influence your future. You also understand that there is that you're changing in every moment, that your life is changing in every moment, and your life will be directed in different ways depending on the choices that you make. So there's an old goal or plan that feels misaligned with this current version of you, what is that? So let's see what we're seeing here. Oh, we got the Ace of Cups. That's interesting. So maybe there's an old plan regarding either creativity, regarding emotions, perhaps regarding romance, or regarding some intuitive version of you. And maybe there's something that you wanted to begin in relation to that, So it might even be a relational thing that doesn't feel aligned with this version of you. Or, okay, interesting. So there might be an idea that you had regarding the type of relationship that you wanted to be in, or maybe perhaps the beginning of a relationship that you wanted to be in, a partnership that you wanted to be in that no longer suits who you are. Maybe you look back at your past and you're like, oh, this is me trying to recreate someone or something that was, a type of person that I used to be attracted to. This might be even when it comes to a creative part of yourself. Maybe there's something that you thought that there wasn't, that doesn't just suit you anymore because maybe it's an old idea. Maybe these are ideas that you had regarding how you used to view love, how you used to view partnerships, perhaps. And if it doesn't have anything to do with partnerships or romantic partnerships, it could be something, maybe there's old patterns regarding how you love, how you care about people, right? So what's one practical step you can take to move away from the misaligned goal? We have the Knight of Wands. Interesting. So the wands, again, are our passions, our desires. It is thinking about what your passions and desires are and moving towards that. So what I'm hearing now, it's like, love me for who I am. Love me for my ideas. Love me for the actions that I take. Love me for all of me, not just the part of me that is perfect. And I'm doing that in quotation marks. This might even be how you love yourself. So maybe loving yourself in a way that is more you, more who you are, showing the truth of who you are, like all your quirks, all of those parts of you that maybe other people might seem weird to other people, but this is your charisma, this is your passion, this is your spontaneity, this is you pursuing your dreams with fast energy, this is courage, right? This is taking inspired action, and this is the pursuit of adventure. And so the affirmation that Chris Ann has is, in the pursuit of the imagine, I manifest this fire with the infectious feelings of inspiration. And so when we're talking about the things that inspire you, if this is the practical step that you can take to move away from your misaligned goal, we're talking about what are the things that light you up, right? What are the things that make you feel brave, right? What are the things that inspire you, right? What are the things that, again, those quirks that make you feel who you are? This is shifting your desires to match your reality, or shifting your reality to match your desires. And so if we're looking at it and we're like, okay, well, maybe who I was at the beginning of the year, maybe I was looking at the past, looking at my past goals and being like, oh, how come I didn't reach those? Or maybe I was looking at the future goals and being like, that's too far away. And so you are now the person who realizes that you're changing every moment. And you're now the person who realizes that the past has some lessons, yes, and the future has some gifts, yes, but really your gift is living in this moment. The goal or the plan that felt most misaligned for you with this Ace of Cups was like, hey, we're in this place right now. We maybe thought that we wanted something different out of relationships. We maybe thought we wanted something different about creativity. We maybe thought we wanted something different regarding our spirituality or our emotions. But now we're in a place where we really want to match our desires. And so the practical step is to look at your desires. What are those desires that you truly want? And that will help you to move into the new direction or intention that's calling you into your future path. And that is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands has faced all her tumultuous emotions, faced all the tumultuous actions that she's taken before, and used them to clear out the shadow, to shine a light, maybe not clear out, but shine a light in her shadow. And she's healed herself. And because she's healed herself, she can shine brightly and she can help others heal too. So the new direction that's calling you to your future path now is this Queen of Wands energy, this passion, this desire, this inspirational person, right? This inspirational person who shows others by living her truth. She shows others by living the truth that she is. She has this intense passion and she incites that creativity and that passion and the determination within others, right? She's the confidence, the joy, the bold expression. She helps others build as she builds her own joy too, right? She's power. She's capable. She's fierce. She roots into her purpose and she boldly steps into that limelight, right? And Chris Ann says, I fill my world with an intense light that connects and incites passion. So that's the direction that you're heading towards. If you can also look at those goals that no longer suit you. What are the goals that no longer feel right in your heart? That's the other thing that I was thinking about with the Ace of Cups, because this Ace of Cups, this cups is at her heart center, and there's this beautiful heart that's shining inside of it, right? There's this rainbow color, this red, pink, and this water that's flowing from that heart center. And the heart center, I'm thinking about harmony. I'm thinking about peace. I'm thinking about love. I'm thinking about connection, right? What are those things that don't feel like that anymore? The practical step that you can take is to really look at your desires and passions and match them with the version of who you currently are now, to bring you to this place of the Queen of Wands, to bring you this place of inspiration, and to bring you this place of appreciation and love, and knowing that it's okay to hold the shadow in all of its light, and don't push the shadow parts of yourself down so that you can't find those again. This is about accepting all parts of you, that you, even those parts that you don't openly share. This is about accepting the past failures in quotation marks, right? This is about knowing that the past doesn't define you, but it does help shape who you currently are now, right? This is healing so that others can heal as a byproduct of your healing. That's part of this reading, right? We move from this energy of who you become from the beginning of the year, who this Six of Cups, right? The Six of Cups is all about, right? Looking at the past, maybe the past revisiting you, but then accepting who you are now, right? And even looking to the future and being like, okay, the future is there and it has gifts, but right now I have these gifts here. And then we look at the things that aren't serving you, what things don't feel aligned with your heart anymore, whether that's romantic, whether that's creative, whether that's spiritual, whether that's emotional, right? And the practical steps to move away from the misaligned goals is to really look at your passions again and move towards your passions with that desire and with that inspiration, and the direction and intention that's calling you into your future path now is this beautiful energy of the Queen of Wands, which inspires and ignites, and she's someone who is always there to shine a light on the things so that they are not left in the shadow, and it's accepting all parts of you, right? I love that. And then you have, again, journaling prompts for you. I love these journaling prompts. They're really great journaling prompts to work with the energy of this Capricorn full moon. There's always space for breathwork notes. There is the breathwork audios in the vault, as well as these helpful links. I truly, truly hope that this workbook journey really resonated with you. If it did, be sure to leave me a comment, let me know, send me an email. And that's it for now. I will see you next time. Bye.